He wasn't the fastest. He wasn't the strongest. But the moment the ball left his fingers, it obeyed him. In the dusty streets of Sialkot, where cricket is more than just a game, a young boy named Raza Hasan was quietly building a dream no one could fully see yet. There were no cameras, no crowds, no headlines, just a skinny teenager spinning a worn-out ball for hours, again and again, as if he was already playing in front of thousands. Raza didn't come from privilege. He didn't have the luxury of elite academies or world-class coaching. What he had was something far more dangerous: obsession. While other kids went to school, Raza found himself drawn more towards cricket grounds. The rhythm of the game, the sound of the ball hitting the pitch, the art of deceiving batsmen, it became his world. He wasn't just playing cricket, he was studying it. Slow left-arm spin, a craft often underestimated, became his weapon. And he mastered it. Locally, people began to notice. There was something unusual about this boy. His control, his confidence, his fearless approach. When he bowled, it didn't feel like a teenager experimenting. It felt like a professional already in control of his craft. The ball dipped, it turned, it trapped, and most importantly, it obeyed. Soon his name started spreading across local cricket circles in Sialkot. Matches that once had no audience now had people gathering just to watch one thing: Raza Hasan bowling. This wasn't luck. This was preparation meeting opportunity. Domestic cricket doors began to open. Raza stepped in, not as a hopeful player, but as someone who belonged there. Playing for departmental teams like Pakistan Television and Sui Northern Gas, he didn't just participate, he dominated. His bowling wasn't flashy, but it was effective. He broke partnerships. He created pressure. He controlled games. Selectors couldn't ignore him anymore. But here's the thing about dreams. They don't arrive gently. They test you first. In 2010, when Pakistan was preparing for a tour of England, a sudden shift in the squad created an unexpected opportunity. A spot opened up, a chance that thousands dream of, but only a few ever get. Raza Hasan's name was on that list. For a boy who once bowled on empty streets, this was unreal. He was now part of the Pakistan squad, standing alongside international cricketers, wearing the same badge, representing the same country. It felt like everything he had worked for was finally paying off. But reality had one more lesson waiting. Despite being in the squad, Raza didn't get a chance to play. No debut, no spotlight, just waiting. For many, this could have been the beginning of doubt. But for Raza, it was just the beginning of hunger, because sometimes the dream doesn't start when you arrive. It starts when you're forced to wait. 2 years of waiting, 2 years of silence, 2 years of grinding in the shadows. And then the moment finally arrived. In September 2012, under the blazing lights of the UAE, Raza Hasan stepped onto the field, not as a squad member anymore, but as an international cricketer. Pakistan versus Australia. A stage where legends are made, or forgotten. For Raza, this wasn't just a match. This was his moment to prove that he belonged. The pressure was enormous. Australia, one of the most aggressive batting lineups in the world. Big names, big expectations. And in the middle of it all, a young spinner making his debut. Most players would be nervous, but Raza looked calm, almost too calm, as he marked his run-up and prepared to bowl his first delivery. Years of struggle, waiting, and silent determination came rushing back. This was everything he had worked for. The ball left his hand, and just like the streets of Sialkot, it obeyed him. Flight turned deception. The Australian batsmen weren't expecting this. And then it happened. He took his first wicket, not just any wicket, a big one. The kind that makes people stop and pay attention. Soon after, he struck again. 2 wickets on debut, against Australia. Names like Steve Smith and Glenn Maxwell, Dries Diesnam, Assis, rising stars of world cricket, were sent back to the pavilion by a young boy who once bowled alone in empty streets. This wasn't just a debut, this was a statement. The commentators noticed, the fans noticed, the selectors definitely noticed. Raza Hasan had arrived. Suddenly everything started moving fast. He became a regular name in Pakistan's T20 squad. His variations, his control, and his fearless bowling style made him a valuable asset. He wasn't just filling a spot, he was earning it. Each match added to his growing reputation. Each wicket strengthened his belief. And then, in 2014, another milestone came knocking. His one-day international debut, once again against Australia. From a boy with no platform to representing Pakistan in 2 international formats, it felt like the story was just getting started. The rise was real, the dream was alive, but sometimes success doesn't test you, it exposes you. Behind the scenes, things weren't as perfect as they seemed. The pressure of international cricket, the sudden fame, the expectations, they all come with a cost. And not everyone is ready to pay it. In 2015, everything changed. One test, one mistake, one decision that would alter his career forever. Raza Hasan tested positive for a prohibited substance. The news spread fast. Shock, disbelief, questions. How could someone with so much potential risk everything? The cricket board didn't wait. The verdict was clear. A 2-year ban from all forms of cricket. Just like that. The rising star was grounded. No matches, no team, no spotlight. Only silence. For a player who had just started building his name, this wasn't just a setback. It was a collapse. From international stadiums, back to isolation. From applause to criticism. From dreams to regret. And the worst part, the world moved on. For most players, a 2-year ban is the end, not just of a career, but of identity. Because when cricket is taken away from you, what remains? For Raza Hasan, those 2 years weren't just punishment. They were isolation, reflection, and a silent war within himself. No stadium lights, no team dressing rooms, no national anthem, just empty grounds and unanswered questions. Where did it all go wrong? The same hands that once controlled the ball now carried regret. The same mind that outsmarted batsmen was now trapped in overthinking. But here's what separates some athletes from the rest. They don't disappear. They rebuild. Away from the cameras, away from the noise, Raza started again from zero. No fame, no guarantees, no shortcuts, just hard work. Day after day he trained, bowled, improved, not for applause, but for redemption. Because deep inside he still believed his story wasn't over. And then, in 2017-18, the opportunity came. The Quaid-e-Azam Trophy, Pakistan's premier domestic tournament. For most, it was just another season. For Raza, it was everything. This was his comeback. And he didn't just return. He dominated. Match after match, he picked wickets, big wickets, important wickets. Batsmen who once ignored him now struggled against him again. By the end of the tournament, he had taken 32 wickets in just 7 matches. 32. That's not a comeback. That's a statement. It was proof that the talent was still there. The skill hadn't faded. The hunger had only grown stronger. People started noticing again. Selectors whispered his name. Fans remembered, Raza Hasan is back. It felt like the story was rewriting itself. The redemption arc was real. But life doesn't always follow perfect scripts. Just when things seemed to be getting back on track, another mistake changed everything. In 2019, during a domestic tournament, Raza was involved in a serious disciplinary issue. He violated team security protocols, leaving the team hotel without informing management. It may sound small, but at that level, discipline is everything. And for someone with a past already under question, it was a disaster. The authorities acted immediately. He was removed from the tournament. Once again, headlines changed. Not about his performance, but about his behavior. And just like that, the comeback lost its momentum. Trust, once broken, is hard to rebuild. Twice? Almost impossible. Teammates stayed silent. No one came forward in his defense. The cricketing world moved further away from him. From being a rising star to a forgotten name. From representing Pakistan to fighting for a place anywhere. The gap between talent and discipline had finally caught up. And this time, it hit harder. Because now, it wasn't just about one mistake. It was a pattern. And patterns define careers. What happens when a dream doesn't end, but slowly fades away? Not with a dramatic goodbye. Not with a final match. but with silence. That's the story of Raza Hasan. Today, there are no headlines about him, no stadiums chanting his name, no selectors waiting for his return. The same player who once dismissed the world's best batsman now finds himself far away from the spotlight he once owned. But here's the truth most people don't see. The game never truly left him. Somewhere on a quiet ground, far from cameras, Raza still bowls. The same action, the same spin, the same control, as if he's still chasing something, or maybe trying to fix something that can't be undone. Because for athletes like him, cricket isn't just a profession, it's identity. And losing that feels like losing a part of yourself. Reports and glimpses over the years have shown him practicing, giving interviews, and most importantly, expressing regret. Not excuses, not denial, regret. He admitted his mistakes. He accepted his failures. He asked for another chance. But sport, especially at the highest level, doesn't always forgive easily, because talent can open doors, but discipline keeps them open. And in Raza's case, that difference defined everything. There was a time when he had it all, and skill, opportunity, recognition, and momentum. He had the backing of selectors. He had performances to prove himself. He had a place waiting for him. But one mistake turned into another, and slowly, everything slipped away. Not because he wasn't good enough, but because he couldn't hold on long enough. And that's what makes his story so powerful. Not as a tale of failure, but as a warning for every young cricketer dreaming of wearing their country's jersey. Raza Hasan's journey is a reminder. Getting there is hard. Staying there is harder, because the world sees your talent. But it judges your decisions. Every action matters. Every choice counts. Every moment off the field shapes your future on the field. Raza's story could have been about records. It could have been about greatness. But instead, it became about lessons. Lessons about discipline, about responsibility, about the thin line between success and self-destruction. And maybe, just maybe, that's his legacy. Not the wickets he took, but the story he left behind. A story that asks one simple question. What if? What if he had made different choices? What if he had stayed focused? What if he had protected his talent the way it deserved? We'll never know. But for those watching, the answer lies in what they choose to do next. Because talent gives you a chance, but character decides your destiny.